If you're watching this video, there's a high possibility, a high chance that you've come out of a messy breakup or a messy situationship, or maybe you're just dealing with the feeling of rejection, the spirit of rejection. Maybe the person you are feeling is not feeling you back, and you don't know how to feel about that. You really saw a future with this person. You saw a future with your ex. You saw a future with that situationship. You saw that situationship going into the next stage, a relationship, but it never made it there. And now you're feeling heartbroken. You feel used. You feel like it's the same thing over and over again. It's the same thing with these guys, the same thing with these girls, and you just don't know what to do. Maybe you saw a future with your ex. You saw them being the person you're going to spend the rest of your life with, but it never made it to that. You ended on really bad terms maybe, and you're just not speaking, and the breakup hurts. Or as I said before, the feeling of rejection of the person that you were eyeing, of them not feeling you back, like it's hurting you because you really saw something. You thought you saw something there, you thought you saw something happening, but nothing ever took off, and you're just sitting here feeling that rejection, soaking it in, but you still do want love. You still are craving it. Well, I feel called to share this message with you guys, especially if you're resonating with the feelings that I had just listed. I pray that this helps you and that you kind of learn something from this. But the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is something I learned a couple weeks ago from a good friend of mine, and it's called the burnt toast theory. Now you're gonna look at me crazy talking about what does burnt toast have to do with anything? Like, I'm heartbroken right now. What does burnt toast have to do with anything? Okay, have you ever woken up super late for something and you realize the only thing you can have to eat is some toast? So you chuck your bread in the toaster and you go do other things in the meantime. But by the time you come back, your toast is burnt and you're pissed off because this is the only time you could have eaten this toast to be somewhat on time for this event. Maybe it's school, maybe it's work, but you're really, really hungry. So you make another piece of toast. And during the time you're making your fresh batch of toast, it has caused an unknown chain of delays, delaying you from being in a certain place at the wrong time. Not knowing that because you made that second piece of toast, it has saved you from something that could have happened if you just took that burnt piece of toast and left the house. Like, maybe making that second piece of toast saved you from a car accident. Maybe it saved you from bumping into a dodgy person. You don't know, but because you dragged that time out, it saved you from a potential disaster. Now, you're going to look at me, you're going to listen to this and be like, what does burnt toast have to do with my situation? Like, I'm going through rejection, I'm dealing with a breakup, I'm dealing with a situationship. What does burnt toast have to do with this? Well, what if I told you that situationship? What if I told you that heartbreak? What if I told you that crush that rejected you is the burnt toast in this? Now we're going to switch to the burnt toast with the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit saving you from something that potentially could have happened, because at the end of the day, it's always the Holy Spirit. So that breakup that you're going through in that relationship, that situationship that ended really messy, or that rejection that you're feeling, is all happening for a reason. Because I truly believe if something is for you, it will come to you. And because that situation ended, because that breakup is happening, I truly believe that is the Holy Spirit saving you from a disaster, from something that could have happened if you stayed in that relationship, if you stayed talking and texting that person, if you stayed crushing on this person. It's the Holy Spirit keeping you in alignment with His will. It's the Holy Spirit keeping you in check and redirecting you in a different place. And I'm not out here saying if you stayed in that situationship, if you stayed in that relationship, if you stayed crushing on that person, something bad could happen. That's not me saying that. I'm just saying for that period of time, maybe God had to just redirect you in a different place. So things ended in a bad way. So maybe it is the right person, wrong time. I'm not trying to get anyone's hopes up, but maybe it's that situation. God just wants you to fix your eyes on Him. You were getting too distracted in that situationship. You were getting too distracted crushing on that person. Maybe it's God saying, hey, I need you to fix your eyes on me. I need you to praise me more. I need you to pray to me more. I want that relationship we had, but ever since you got into this, you've been distant. Maybe it's God saying that. To conclude the burnt toast theory, it's a concept that suggests negative things, like burning your toast, can lead to positive outcomes, like not bumping into dodgy people or not getting in a car accident. Not saying that's going to happen to you, but y'all get the point. Back onto the concept of God realigning and redirecting our steps. I believe and can tell you that when we get into relationships and when we get into situationships and when we have crushes on people, especially when we do this without God being in the center of your situationship or your relationship, it can get messy. We start to become infatuated with these people. We lose our identity through them. We care more about what they think and what they say define you. But I want to share this passage with you, and it's Psalms 139 verses 13 through 16, and it says, For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. True identity comes from Jesus Christ, from a relationship with him. Your identity is not defined or valued by what that guy says about you, by what that girl thinks about you, what they think about you, what the world says about you. That is not your identity. It's how God sees you. That is your identity. I feel like sometimes when we get into situationships and whatnot, we can forget who we are. And as awful as a breakup is, as awful as getting ghosted is, I feel like sometimes that can just be a redirection of what you need to see, of what you need to pay attention to in that time of your life. And sometimes you can be like, well, Leslie, I was in a God-centered relationship. I had a crush and God was in the middle of it, and it still went awful. It still went bad. I want to share James chapter 1 verses 2-4 with you guys. And it says, Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let the perseverance finish its works so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. I feel like even when you're in God-centered relationships or you have a crush that God knows everything about, God will still test you to see if you will run back to him or if you will run to the world for advice when it comes to your relationship. If your relationship is falling apart, but you know the promises God has made in this relationship, God will test you and he'll put trials and tests in these relationships to see if you really trust in what he said or if you're going to run to the world and get the world's opinion and get the world's advice. Obviously, God already knows the outcome. He doesn't need to test us to be sure because God already is sure. He already knows. But he puts these obstacles in our relationships. He puts us in some of these sticky situations so we can grow from it, because the testing of our faith produces perseverance. And the ability to persevere from something is to keep going even though it's a sticky situation, even though there's obstacles and challenges. It's to keep going, and you'll find that light at the end of the tunnel. But the last thing I want to say is being in a relationship is a gift from God that he gives us when we're ready. But gifts do not define us and they do not complete our self-worth. You can't get those two things confused, because this right here is a gift. My bottle is a gift, but it does not define me. A relationship is a gift from God. That shouldn't define you. You are complete through God, and you need to spend time in the secret place and to spend time with God to understand who you are. And it's normal to crave love. It's normal to crave relationships, especially people my age. It's normal to want a boyfriend or a girlfriend. It's normal because God created love, and it's not a sin for us to want that. But we just need to seek the kingdom first, and everything shall be added.